G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean, and today basically what I wanted to do was to talk about some of the changes that has recently been happening on the channel in terms of the channel name, the channel branding, and just sort of explain and give some context around some of those changes, as I know some of you who are aspiring to be content creators, these tips and these little things that I discovered after a few years being on YouTube hopefully might help you guys as well. So if you did like this video, chuck it a like, get subscribed, and let's begin. So the main thing that you've probably noticed by now is the name of the channel has been changed from Steknology Australia to Social Hardware. Essentially, Steknology Australia was a name that I chose almost 3 years ago now, and the reason why I chose that name was ST for Steknology was the initials of my name, Sean Tamplin, and Technology Australia was, I guess, talking about the fact that the channel was going to be about technology. I'm an Australian living in Australia, and so I thought all of that together made it sound really interesting and different, but I had no idea, I guess, that 3 years later the channel was not going to be doing well in terms of Google search results and things like that, which is why I've changed it to Social Hardware. Looking back at, I guess, the last 3 to 6 months, I've noticed that even though I've put out over 100 videos, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Instagram, I've got hashtags, I've got all these different keywords working for me. Every time you search Steknology Australia, it just corrected it back to Technology Australia, which is a very generic search term, which included all these results from all over Australia. And I guess me, a little YouTube creator, am not going to rank very highly. So potentially the downfall there is I'm not going to get many views, and I'm not going to be gaining many subscribers, and I'm not going to be reaching the audiences that I'm hoping to reach. Looking back to, I guess, the last 3 to 6 months and looking at my YouTube analytics, I was noticing that I was getting consistently hundreds of thousands of views every single month back to back, and my subscribers were only a couple hundred each month. And so I guess the light bulb moment was understanding people were able to find my videos based on the name of the product that I was reviewing or the tutorial that I was making, but they weren't able to find me and my channel. They weren't able to, I guess, subscribe, so they would keep getting future handy and helpful content being served to them by YouTube. So I think I made that realization I needed to change something, because potentially with Steknology Australia, I was just missing out on a lot more viewers and a lot more subscribers in Australia and worldwide. Picking a name for your channel, if you're a YouTube creator, or a name for your band, or a name for your persona, whatever it might be, is always a really challenging, I think, moment, because you know what you want to create, you know what you want to do, and you know what you want to achieve by doing that, but choosing a name that sort of defines you is, I think, always the really it's like a stumbling block, and it's a really hard thing to sort of I guess be okay with and know that that's going to be your identity for this platform, for whatever it might be. So I didn't really know how to come up with a new name that was going to really, I guess, emulate what I was trying to put out there. But what I wanted was a name that was inclusive. It was about technology and PC hardware. It was something that maybe stimulated the idea of people being social and talking to each other and interacting with comments and sharing and reposting. And anyway, so I went onto a sort of a random business name generator. I literally just went onto Google, random business name generator, and I said chuck in some keywords, which I threw in technology, reviews, support, tutorials, gaming, and press submit. And then the first result that come back was Social Hardware, and there was pages on pages on pages of results that I went through, and I sat on that name, Social Hardware, and a few others for actually quite some time. And it wasn't like I saw that name and I changed it the next week. I thought about it and I searched it and I researched it to see if anyone else had that name, if it was registered as a business or a website potentially, and no one had taken the name Social Hardware. And I thought just me personally, I thought that sounded like a really catchy name. And so after a lot of discussion, I've decided to change the name. Obviously now you're seeing it, Social Hardware. So it's a name that I'm hoping people will remember. It's quite catchy. I guess there's the social from social media and hardware from technology and PC hardware sort of merged together. And potentially it also removes the, I guess, potential problem I might have in the future if the channel does become really successful and I want to bring somebody else in. It's not a channel that's about me, Sean. It's a channel that's about social hardware, about technology that's going to help people connect and interact with one another, which I think is going to be great. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the channel is all about me and who I am. It's about me, but it's also something that I can bring someone else onto in the future, or a whole group of people into, and I think that's a really, really exciting prospect. Now, thinking big picture, long-term things as well is, you know, I'm a dreamer and I like to think that maybe social hardware would be a cool little font to have on some clothing that people could buy, or I could wear myself and I could be quite happy. I could quite easily see myself, you know, going down the street and seeing something in a shop and seeing social hardware on, like, you know, the bottom of a shirt or the back of a shirt or on a cap or something like that, and being like, oh, that's a cool brand. I want to know more about that and I want to wear that because I think it looks like a trendy little word as well. So that's something that I might want to sort of explore in the future. So trying to envision seeing the name on a piece of clothing or on a mouse pad or something like that is really cool. Maybe seeing it on a shop or on a shop front, I should say, is a pretty cool prospect. Maybe even brewing my own beer and calling it the Social Hardware beer. I don't know, that'd be a pretty cool pipe dream. But then the flip side, which is something Alexandra mentioned to me, is about the fact that we could have meetups, we could have LAN parties, and that could be called, or probably will be called, the Hardware Social. So social hardware for YouTube content and hardware social for meetups and gatherings, and you know, a place for everyone to actually physically come and talk to each other once COVID finishes and interact and talk about games, PC technology, or anything else. So that's a bit of a breakdown on why I switched from Technology Australia to Social Hardware. And I think if you're a YouTube content creator and maybe you've got a name like, I don't know, Michael's YouTube channel, maybe that's a too generic search term and people aren't going to necessarily find you because there's going to be so many other Michaels out there. And maybe it's an opportunity to think about, you know, changing your channel name to something that is a little bit more unique, but still sort of encompasses what you're about. And maybe that will help you get your content to more people. Now, obviously, as you guys know, we've also recently moved house. Trying to figure out this new studio space and figure out the lighting has been a bit of a challenge, but I think we're finally sort of getting used to a consistent setup every single time. We've got a lot of new tech coming. We've got a lot of new lighting products coming to sort of help polish the videos up a little bit. And ultimately, I think, you know, our Instagram strategy going forward as well should help in terms of our overall growth. So we're really trying to set ourselves up for 2021 and really sort of start it with a bang. But at the same time, you know, I'm going to keep delivering content as often as I can. The live streams are still happening 3 times a week. I'm on Twitch consistently every single week on Friday nights. And I mean, other than that, I guess the last thing I will say is that I am also quite burnt out. I am feeling it. I think a lot of you who are, you know, I guess working or studying from home, whatever it might be, haven't been able to travel and haven't been able to have holidays, you're probably feeling it as well. And, you know, you're not alone. It's a really challenging time at the moment, trying to be, you know, super energetic and optimistic about, you know, this year and the future and the things that might happen or might not happen. But we just got to sort of keep plugging away. But I'm definitely looking forward to a break. I hope that this content helps you if you're struggling with a problem or you just want to sort of come and chat with me on the streams. Either way, I'm super grateful for every single person who has watched a video, subscribed, or maybe even just found the video helpful and then left without saying anything. That's also totally okay, as that's what I did for a large majority of my life before I started started making YouTube videos. So thanks again to everyone for watching this video. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And other than that, I will leave you and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.